scared you out of your half-witless on that last clip on the end of number 3 on the engine oil check bolt. That's to check the pressure. I talked to Huey over at Maxi Muppets. He's a Yamaha mechanic, and he said he's never really ever had to, never really opened one. But I would say that this, if you ever had to work on the engine, had the engine disassembled, you had to change the oil pump, or had a clogged filter or junk went down the hole, you may want to check that, because what the engine or the service manual says is start the engine and keep it idling until the engine oil starts to seep out of the oil check bolt. You just crack it a little bit. If no engine oil comes out after 1 minute, turn the engine off so it will not seize. Check, and then it goes back in to check the oil passages. So if you have had a rebuild or whatever, you may have plugged up, because this screw taps in to the oil galleries that run through the crank and all through the engine. So if you're not getting oil there, you're going to lose the engine. So all people in America probably won't have that, because your scoots are too new, and if you haven't contaminated your oil or anything, you probably won't have that problem. So so much for that, and back to fun and games. Okay, I've got Rosie outside now. We're going to do the outside tune-up to keep the gas exhaust fumes out of the shop, but I've got my carb tune set up and my fluke meter set up, and the carb tune goes down into the number 1 cylinder and number 2 cylinder here. The last time I had the 2 tapes over here, but it makes more sense to have 1 tape on 1 cylinder and 2 tapes on cylinder number 2. So, okay, we've got the meters on. I'm running about 1500 RPM, which is high for cold, and the digital tack on the scoot reads about the same, so it's fairly accurate. I'm getting about 22, maybe 23 centimeters of mercury or metal showing up on the meter, so I'll let it run in and get warm until it comes up off of the temperature gauge. Okay, she's warmed up and idling in at about around 1200. It's supposed to be between 1100 and 1300 on the RPMs, and then about 23 I'm running about 24, but that's fine, because number 2 is pulling a little bit more. So when you add some RPM, they balance out evenly, so I'm going to let it be at that. So this is it. So we finished another RPM and sync test, and we're still fine. I haven't had to make any adjustments to it, and I don't expect to have to do that until maybe 12, 14,000 miles. At 4,000 miles, it's still running really solid. And now that I've got the scoot warmed up, the engine's warmed up, and the output drive silent chain oil should be warm enough to flow a little bit better, I'll take it back into the shop and drain the oil and start putting panels back on. Okay, I got the oil plug out, and it takes there's a 17 millimeter. The first time I had to take this thing out, I didn't think I was going to be able to get it out, because tremendous amount of torque that the factory put on it. I was talking to Huey, Yamaha mechanic over in England that you'll talk to on the Maxi Muppet forum, and he said there was a rash of those that were just really torqued. He didn't think he'd ever get them off, and there was somebody else on the Tmax of the Madge forum that had the same problem too. So we got that one draining out, and as soon as it gets done, then we'll switch back to the final drive chain. Okay, you want to torque. Okay, you want to torque that drain bolt down to 31 pounds. One more check. We're happy. Okay, this one on this change, There's no filter, so you just change the oil, which is without a filter is 2.8 liters. 2.8 liters. These cans are 946. The quart cans are 946, which gives you about 2.94. So you want to about 140 milliliters, which will put you up right about in here on the can, which would be about the top of the 4 on the 4-ounce side. So 2 full cans, and then all the way down to about that far, which is about an inch from the bottom. And then just as I finished it up, the oil filled up the sight glass to where there's no, it's completely full now, just right at the top. So that's the perfect. We'll go on to the silent chain and drain that now. Okay, here we've got 2 more of those screws from hell. Probably I'll check the part number. I'm pretty sure they're the same thing. So this time when I use my socket wrench, I've already had them off once before, if you remember from the last set of videos. Okay. Yep, exact same screws. Okay, there we go. Take off the cap. Hasn't used any since I last checked, but I have on a couple occasions while I was washing the bike. When I pulled my rag away from underneath the silent chain case here, I came away with some oily residue. Now, I don't know if it was blow-by through the forward front seal on the silent chain part, or whether I was getting some blow-by on the seal coming out of the transmission gears behind the wet clutch. It seemed like thicker oil, and it seemed like it was always happening after I'd gone over a pass. So it could be the lower air pressure of the passes force it out. So I'm going to check the little vent in here to make certain that it's working correctly. Okay, I popped it off. It takes a 12 millimeter bolt or nut, and it had some torque to it, but it wasn't. Hopefully this is not going to get real messy. Okay. It's looking pretty clean coming out, so I'll let it drain. Probably run the wheel a little bit to okay. Well, there's not a whole lot in there. Okay, we got the plug back in, and it's 20 Newton meters on the about 14 foot-pounds, I think it is, 20 Newton meters on the nut. It's back in there, and then now I was checking on the container, and it's 0.7 where am I at here? 0.7 liters on the 80-90 weight stuff, which works out to be low, pour it in until you're even with the 8-ounce side, which would be the equivalent of about 250 milliliters on the metric side. So pour it into the 8-ounce, which I would give you your 3/4 of a quart, what they call for. So let's do that.